At the 2025 Academy Awards, Kieran Culkin made history by winning the Best Supporting Actor Oscar for his extraordinary performance in A Real Pain, a film that became a critical and commercial sensation. Culkin's portrayal of the film's deeply complex and often turbulent character earned him widespread acclaim, with many praising his ability to balance the character's vulnerability with an underlying menace. However, what many don't know is that Culkin's path to the role was far from conventional. The actor wasn't the first choice for the part. In fact, it had initially been offered to Eric Andre, the comedian and actor known for his irreverent humor and chaotic public persona. Andre, however, turned down the role, a decision he later confessed to regret deeply. The story of how Andre came to turn down such a prestigious opportunity began with a phone call from his agent. At the time, Andre was riding high on the success of his late-night talk show The Eric Andre Show, where he cultivated a reputation for absurdity and pushing boundaries. The role in A Real Pain was offered to him based on his dynamic screen presence, which had caught the eye of the film's director, known for their interest in casting unconventional actors in dramatic roles. Andre, initially skeptical of stepping into the realm of serious acting, found himself torn. At first, he was hesitant. The role was intense and emotionally demanding, requiring an actor to tap into deep reservoirs of pain, anger, and remorse. Andre, who had built his career on being an unpredictable and eccentric comic, was uncertain whether he could pull off the gravitas required for such a role. He had spent years carving out a niche for himself in comedy, and the idea of shifting gears into dramatic acting felt like a daunting leap. Andre, in his characteristic self-deprecating manner, even joked that he thought of himself more as a human cartoon character than someone who could bring emotional depth to a character. The script, though, was undeniably compelling, and the director's vision for the film was bold. But Andre's doubts about his ability to handle the dramatic material led him to make what he would later describe as a huge mistake. He turned down the role, assuming that it was better suited for someone with a more traditional acting background. The decision came at a time when Andre was in the midst of a hectic schedule, balancing his show, stand-up gigs, and various other projects. He reasoned that he was simply too busy to commit to the heavy emotional workload required for a film like A Real Pain. Moreover, the weight of the potential failure loomed large in his mind. The thought of not being able to live up to the director's expectations, or of disappointing fans who saw him as a comedian rather than a dramatic actor, felt like an insurmountable challenge. The role ultimately went to Kieran Culkin, a seasoned actor known for his nuanced performances in both comedic and dramatic roles. Culkin's ability to slip into a character's psyche and express the complexity of human emotions made him a perfect fit for the role. Culkin's interpretation of the character was one of quiet intensity, showing both fragility and strength, and it became one of the defining performances of the year. His work in A Real Pain not only earned him the Oscar but also solidified his reputation as one of the most versatile actors of his generation. For Andre, watching Culkin's success in the role was a bittersweet experience. At first, he tried to avoid watching the film, afraid it would intensify his feelings of regret. But eventually, curiosity got the better of him, and he saw A Real Pain in a theater, surrounded by a packed audience. From the moment Culkin took the screen, Andre felt a deep pang of envy and admiration. The performance was magnetic, drawing the audience in with its raw emotion and subtlety. Andre couldn't help but think about what could have been. He had been given an opportunity to showcase a different side of himself, to prove his range as an actor, but he had let fear and doubt dictate his decision. In the months following the Oscars, Andre became more vocal about his regret, especially during interviews. In a candid conversation with a late-night host, Andre admitted to his mistake, calling it the one that got away. He explained that while he had no ill will toward Culkin, watching him accept the Oscar made Andre realize how much he had underestimated his own potential. He confessed that, in hindsight, he had let the fear of failure hold him back from taking a chance. The opportunity to stretch as an actor, to break away from his comedy roots and explore something deeper, was something he now recognized as a rare gift. The reaction to Andre's admission was mixed. Some fans of his comedy were supportive, understanding that he had made the choice that seemed best at the time. They reminded him that comedy and drama are two very different skill sets, and it was natural for someone who had built a career in one to hesitate when stepping into the other. Others, however, were less forgiving, with some questioning why Andre hadn't trusted his instincts more. Some even speculated that Andre's decision was motivated by a deeper fear of stepping out of his comfort zone, an anxiety many people face when they are forced to confront their own limitations. Despite the regret, Andre made it clear that he did not dwell on the past. Instead, he expressed a renewed desire to challenge himself as an actor. The experience of watching Culkin's performance had sparked something within him, a fire to take on more complex and nuanced roles in the future. Andre's next project, which he kept under wraps for months, was a bold departure from the absurdity of his previous work. It was a dramatic thriller that tested his emotional range in a way that no one expected. When the first trailer for the film dropped, fans were taken aback by the depth and intensity Andre brought to the character. His portrayal of a man wrestling with guilt and remorse was a far cry from his usual comedic roles, and many critics were eager to see how he would fare. Andre's decision to take on a serious dramatic role was widely seen as a response to his earlier regret. He had realized that fear should never dictate the choices one makes in life, especially when it comes to creativity. In the years that followed, he continued to diversify his career, mixing comedy and drama in ways that challenged his fans' perceptions of him. While he would always be known for his wild antics on The Eric Andre Show, he found new opportunities to show a different side of himself, one that was more nuanced and introspective. In the end, while Andre would always reflect on the role he turned down in A Real Pain, he also recognized that sometimes, life works in mysterious ways. Had he taken the role, it might have altered the trajectory of his career in ways he couldn't have predicted. Perhaps his decision to pass on the role was the right one in that moment, even if it didn't feel that way at the time. For now, he was content with the path he had taken, but with a greater understanding of the importance of embracing opportunities, even those that seem daunting. And as for Culkin, his success in A Real Pain remained a reminder of how unpredictable the entertainment industry can be, and how sometimes, the roles that are meant for you come to you when you least expect them.